Hey everyone, hope you're having an amazing day. It's Tom. Today's episode name is Undefeated Warlords in Human History. Thutmose III was the sixth pharaoh of the 18th dynasty. He created the largest empire Egypt has ever seen. He ruled Egypt for almost 54 years and was buried in the Valley of the Kings. Thutmose III is widely regarded by historians as a military genius who led 17 documented campaigns in 20 years. He was an active, expansive ruler, sometimes called the greatest conqueror of Egypt or Egyptian Napoleon. It is recorded that during his reign he conquered 350 cities, and during his campaigns he conquered most of the Middle East from the Euphrates to Nubia. He is consistently considered one of the greatest Egyptian pharaohs of war, who transformed Egypt into an international superpower. In most of his campaigns, his enemies were defeated city by city until they were completely subdued. The preferred tactic was to conquer a much weaker city or state and then another, which resulted in the surrender of each faction until full domination was achieved. Another reason why Thutmose was able to conquer such a large number of countries is the change in tactics of combat and modernization of weapons. For example, in the Battle of Megiddo, Thutmose III with 15,000 men faced a large rebellious coalition of Canaanite and vassal states led by King Kaddish. Of the defeated 15,000 coalition armies, 11,700 men were killed or captured. Alexander the Great lived from 356 to 323 BC and was king of Macedonia. Alexander was taught by Aristotle until he was 16 years old. In his 30s, he created one of the largest empires of the ancient world, stretching from the Ionian Sea to the Himalayas. He was not defeated in any battle and is considered one of the most successful commanders of all time. In 334 BC, he invaded the Persian Empire, conquered Asia Minor, and launched a series of campaigns that lasted 10 years. Alexander broke the power of Persia in a series of decisive battles, especially the battles of Issus and Gaugamela, where Alexander's army had 47,000 men and the Persians more than 250,000. He subsequently overthrew the Persian king Darius III and conquered the entire Persian Empire. In an effort to reach the end of the world and the Great Outer Sea, he invaded India with the army in 326 BC, but was eventually forced to return at the request of his troops. Alexander died in Babylon in 323 BC, when he was 32, without carrying out a series of planned campaigns, to begin with the invasion of Arabia. He founded about 20 cities that are named Alexandria, the most famous is in Egypt. It has become a benchmark against which military leaders have compared themselves, and military academies around the world are still teaching his tactics. Scipio Africanus lived from 236 to 183 BC, was a general of the Second Punic War, and a statesman of the Roman Republic. He is recognized as one of the best commanders in military history. An earlier great demonstration of his tactical abilities appeared in the Battle of Aleppo. At an early age, Scipio joined the Roman fight against Carthage in the Second Punic War. The young 18-year-old Scipio survived the catastrophic battles of Ticinus, Trebia, and Cannae. Scipio never saw a defeated Roman force again because when he was 25, he was given command and never lost a single battle. He became famous for defeating Hannibal at the end of the Second Punic War at the Battle of Zama. In this battle, Scipio had 35,000 men and Hannibal 40,000. Scipio crushed Hannibal, the Romans lost 5,000 men, and the Carthaginians 33,000. Many people consider Scipio to be one of the greatest Roman generals. Skillful in strategy and tactics, he also had the ability to confidently inspire his soldiers. Subutai was the chief military strategist and general of Genghis Khan. He led more than 20 campaigns, in which he defeated 32 nations and won 65 battles, during which he conquered or occupied more territory than any other commander in history. He won through imaginative, sophisticated strategies and routinely coordinated army movements hundreds of miles apart. It is commemorated in campaigns that destroyed the armies of Hungary and Poland in 2 consecutive days and with forces more than 500 kilometers apart. Subutai was one of the first Mongol generals except Genghis Khan to realize the value of engineers in the siege war, which he used in field battles. In the Battle of Mohi in 1241, Hungarians with crossbows repulsed a night attack across a bridge and inflicted heavy losses on the Mongols. Subutai ordered huge catapults to clear the shores of the Hungarian archers and open the way for his light right across the river without further loss. This use of siege weapons was one of the first recorded uses of war machines in the West outside the siege war. While the catapults cleared the way over the main bridge, Subutai oversaw the construction of another temporary bridge over the river to bypass the Hungarians. The battle resulted in the crushing defeat of the Hungarian troops, and King Bela and Prince Koloman escaped, and Archbishop Ugrin drowned in the swamp. The battle was followed by a plunder of Mongol troops in the country over a year. Louis Nicolas Daviau lived from 1770 to 1823 and was considered one of Napoleon's most capable marshals, along with Massena and Lannes. Thanks to his special war talent and his reputation for strict despotism, he was awarded the title of Iron Marshal. In the Battle of Austerlitz, after an exhausting march of 48 hours, his 3 corps held the main attack of the alliance. In the ensuing Fourth Coalition War, Daviau fought a single corps of 28,000 men and won the Battle of Auerstadt against the main Prussian army, which had 63,000 at its disposal. Historian François Guy writes, Napoleon won a battle in Jena that he could not lose. At Auerstadt, Daviau won a battle he could not win. Daviau also became famous at the Battle of Eylau in Friedland. In the War of 1809, Daviau took part in the events that culminated in the Battle of Egmont and also proved himself at the Battle of Wagram. He demanded strict and precise obedience from his soldiers, and his corps was therefore more credible and accurate in the performance of its duties than any other. Daviau forbade his troops to plunder enemy villages under threat of the death penalty. In the beginning of the Grand Army was therefore his Third Corps is entrusted with the most demanding operations. His loyalty and obedience to Napoleon was absolute. He was one of the few commanders during the Napoleonic Wars who was never defeated on the battlefield. And when Napoleon returned from Elba, Daviau joined him. It is possible that Napoleon would not lose the Battle of Waterloo if he did not let Daviau protect Paris. Napoleon was criticized for not using the skills of the best general he owned at the time at Waterloo. Ian Žižka of Trochnov, who lived in the years 1360–1424, was a Czech general, a Hussite leader and successor of Ian Huis. He was born in the small village of Trochnov in Czech into a manorial family. He was nicknamed the One-Eyed Žižka. His tactics were unorthodox and innovative. In addition to training and equipping his army to the best of his ability, he also used armored wagons armed with small cannons and muskets, which foreshadowed the tank 500 years later. He was also a master at using geography and managing the discipline of his troops. Žižka is considered one of the greatest military leaders and innovators of all time and proudly ranks among the greatest military leaders who have never lost a battle. Žižka fought on the victorious side of the Battle of Grunwald, which was one of the greatest battles in medieval Europe. Then, on July 15, 1410, the Polish-Lithuanian coalition won overwhelmingly, defeating the German Order of Knights. Žižka became famous during the Hussite Wars. The Hussites were a Christian movement following the teachings of John Huss. On March 25, 1420, Žižka, with 400 peasants armed with modified agricultural tools, defeated 5,000 trained knights, followers of Sigismund, near the heavy cavalry of Sutomir. Žižka developed a new tactic using a wagon's wall, which was something like a mobile fortification. When the Hussite army faced a numerically better adversary, they prepared the wagons for battle by forming them into squares or circles, and the chariots were then connected by chains from wheel to wheel. The Hussite Wars also marked the earliest successful use of firearms on the battlefield, and Zizka was an innovator in the use of gunpowder. He was the first European commander to maneuver in the field with a medium-caliber cannon mounted on and between the wagons. Sigismund, with the help of Pope Martin V and many German princes, arrived in front of the walls of Prague at the head of a huge army of crusaders from all parts of Europe. In Prague, Zizka and his men took a strong position on a hill near the town known as Vitkov, now in Žižkov. The battle took place on July 14, 1420. Zizka had only 26 men and 3 women to defend Vitkov, and later reinforcements of 50 shooters and an unknown number of warriors with flails arrived. Sigismund sent 8,000 of the best knights to him. Thanks to Zizka's personal leadership, the attack was repulsed and Zygmunt's forces fled headlessly from the battlefield. A bronze monument was erected on the top of this hill in honor of Jan Zizka. Zizka apparently died of blood poisoning near Pribislav on October 11, 1424. According to the chronicler Piccolomini, Zizka's last wish was that his leather be used to make military drums so that he could continue to lead his troops even after his death. Zizka was so respected that when he died, his soldiers called themselves orphans because they felt they had lost their father. His enemies said that he whom no mortal hand could destroy was extinguished by God's finger. Huge thank you for watching this video, and if you like it, please remember to give a thumbs up. Leave comment below, I'd love to read from you, and if you're not subscribed, click subscribe and also click the little bell icon so you'll immediately get notified of the next video that I publish. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you on the next video.